Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. On this channel, we talk about problems people face in their day-to-day lives. Let's start with a video.
My relationship with my parents had never been smooth, and I have bad memories of them only. I remember when I used to count the years of how many were left to be spent with them before I could finally leave. My dad is a narcissist and loves to control the lives of others. My mom, on the other hand, says and does whatever my dad asks her to. It feels like my dad has diminished her personal opinion over the years they've spent together. I was 14 years old when my dad suspected that I was dating a guy from my school, and he literally threatened that he would kill me. He did not even listen to me, that the guy was just my friend. And even if he was my boyfriend, why did he have a problem with it? My mom came to my room and told me that I was too young for things like that, and she never thought that I would grow up to be a slut. I could not believe my ears. That was the time I had decided that I was going to leave the house as soon as I turned 18, as that was more than enough. My dad used to control everything in the house, and if we had to go out or were invited to a party, it depended on him if he would allow us to go or not. This made our life a living hell, and all we thought about was leaving that place. I was in high school when I was hired at a superstore nearby and started to earn money. My dad would take every penny I had earned and would tell me that I was staying at his place. I had to contribute to the expenses. I told him several times that I would complain to the police, to which he would reply that he would then kick me out the same day and I would end up on the streets. This was the only fear that kept me in that house, and I could not stand up for myself. When I graduated high school, I had to get into a college, but my dad told me that he was not going to support my education further, as he had already spent a lot of money on my education. Just to mention that I had been going to public schools, and there were no such expenses he had to bear. I was, of course, not able to take admission to college that year, but that year turned out to be the best of my life. I got hired as a waitress in a 5-star restaurant and started earning well. I told my parents that I was going to leave and would never see them again. My mom told me that they were glad to be rid of me and would love to never hear from me again. I rented a private room and moved out of my parents' house. I secured admission to college for a bachelor's in business administration, and for the first time in my life, I felt fulfilled and happy. My routine was tough, as I had to attend college in the morning, and then I'd work at the restaurant, and then I'd study till late for college. That was the most hectic time of my life, but it was worth it. I completed my bachelor's and started applying for jobs. As soon as I secured a job in a company, I resigned from the restaurant and took the admissions for my master's. I had been a very motivated and driven person forever, but my family never supported me in anything. After I graduated master's, I already had work experience and did not face any difficulty in landing a job in a reputable company. I celebrated that with my friends and posted about that on Facebook. As my siblings were still added on Facebook, the news reached my family in no time. My siblings congratulated me and told me that they were proud of me. A few days later, I received a text from my dad that he was proud of me and always believed in me. That made me very emotional, and I thought he meant that, but I was wrong. I received a parcel from my family, and I had no idea what it contained. When I tore the envelope open, there was a bank statement that said that a certain amount of loan that my dad had taken from the bank needed to be repaid. I called my dad and asked him what all that was about. My dad told me that he had taken the loan to set up a store, but his idea miserably failed, and now he was not even able to repay the loan. He went on and said that as I had landed a well-paid job, it was no big deal for me to repay the loan. I'm still unable to understand how my parents could be this cold and insensitive, and what made them think that I have forgotten everything they did to me. I swear I'm going to deal with them the way they dealt with me. I sent my parents a parcel containing a letter that said that I didn't even recognize them, as I had no family. I went on and said that they had probably mistaken me for someone else. My dad called me the day he received the letter and told me that he did not know that I was still the cheap little girl and he thought I'd grown up. I told him that even though he did not change over the years and had managed to stay the same, so I guess I had inherited that from him. He told me that as I had mentioned that I had no family, that was because I did not deserve a family. I told him to have a great day, and I hung up. My mom called me later that day and told me that it was so mean of me and she never expected that from me. She said that being the eldest kid in the family, I had few responsibilities to fulfill. I asked her why did she not remember that when she would treat me as a doormat along with her dearest husband, and it was only the money I earned which had changed her thoughts. I told her that the loan was not my problem and they had not taken it for my education, so they better deal with it themselves. My brother came to see me and told me that my dad was not feeling well, as financial stress had taken over him and he felt even worse since I had sent that letter. I told him that he had no idea what I felt when he told me that he was not going to bear my college expenses, which were least, to be honest. My brother said that my dad's life was already miserable and I should not make it more so by seeking revenge on him. I told him that his life was miserable because he never failed to make everyone else feel miserable. I told my brother that he should suggest our dad sell his house and repay the loan. My brother got furious and asked if I wanted to see them on the streets. I told him that if they would not sell the house themselves, the bank would make them do so, eventually, and they can relocate to a rented apartment if the streets did not suit them. My brother left my place in a fury and told me that I was the worst daughter he had ever known. I called my dad later on and told him that I would help him, but it was not going to be a financial help, so he should not expect much. I do not know what you guys are going to say, but the resentment I have for my family is endless, and you cannot even imagine what they had put me through. I went to my dad and took photos of the house and made sure no one got the idea of what was going on. I later on uploaded the information and the photos of the house on an app and advertised it for sale. I had given my dad's number in the advertisement so the interested people would contact him. A day or two passed. My dad called me to say that it was the worst thing a daughter would do to her parents, and I was a disgrace to their family. My dad told me that he would complain to the police as I had advertised his house without his consent. I told him that I was just trying to help him, and he was too mean to thank me. He told me to shut up and hung up. He did not complain to the police as I did not receive any notification. I took down the advertisement because I thought I had made them suffer enough. I cannot believe how they could expect anything from me after the years of abuse I had suffered from childhood in their house. Now they expect me to repay their loan just because I have achieved everything on my own? I swear, if I had not achieved anything, they would not have even bothered to contact me, just like they did not try to reach out to me in all the previous years. A couple of weeks passed and my dad called me again. He asked me if I could repay a few installments only, and then he would find a way to repay the rest of the loan. He also told me that he would return me the money later on. I told him that I could not do so as I was already shifting my apartment and would need money there as well. I went on and said that he should stop expecting help from me as nothing was going to change my mind. I told him that his problems were his only, and just like I never reached him for help, I expect the same from him. My dad would not stop calling me and trying to emotionally blackmail me, so I had to take a step against him. I already had enough proof against my family, including that letter they had sent me and the text I received from my mom and dad, in which they were either emotionally blackmailing me or were threatening me. I filed for a restraining order against my family and was able to get one as I had proof against them. I, of course, got notification but did not try to contact me after that. NTA. This was very brave of OP, and the way she put up their house for sale was the best, to be honest. When OP said that she called her dad to say that she was going to help them, I thought that she was going to make a mistake, but she totally nailed it. It was not at all harsh, and her family deserved to be served that way as they had mistreated OP for so long. NTA, the boss of a-holes here, was the dad, and other a-holes under him were OP's mom and OP's brother. I mean, from where did the OP's dad get the guts to ask her for help when he had pushed her on the streets? I can understand the struggle OP had gone through when she had to leave her house and was on her own for years, and when she finally established. Her family looked up to her for help and talked about responsibilities. Sick people.
Next story.
My husband, 42, and I, 37, have our 10-year-old wedding anniversary coming up soon. This has been a long year for both of us, as I was diagnosed with cancer and have been dealing with the treatments for the past year and have finally been declared cancer-free. During the treatment, my husband has been amazing and has used almost all of his vacation time to make sure that I was being taken care of. Of course, this meant that he doesn't have any time to take a week off for our upcoming 10-year anniversary to go do something fun. I, of course, still wanted to celebrate being cancer-free, so I booked a tropical getaway trip with one of my best friends so I could get away and celebrate. Due to the scheduling of my friend, the only time that worked best for her was during the same time that my wedding anniversary falls on. I figured this would be fine since my husband couldn't take any time off to go anywhere anyway. I told my husband that I was taking the trip after everything had been booked, and he ended up getting very upset. And he said that taking the trip on our anniversary date and not discussing any of the plans with him prior to booking everything made him feel like he didn't matter. Of course, this is not true. I still love him, but I really wanted to get away and have some time to have fun again. I told him that once he has some vacation time saved again, that he can book us a trip and we could enjoy some tropical time together then. I really didn't want him to feel like he wasn't allowed to do anything fun. AITA for planning a trip with my friend on my wedding anniversary date and not informing my husband until after everything was booked. I understand from the comments that I was being insensitive. The timing with my friend is that she really wanted to get away from the cold weather and do something warm before her job picks back up in the summer. I understand that my husband is so upset, and I'll talk to him later and let him choose anything that he wants us to do together after I get back, just to let him know that he's still important to me. I had to take some time to reflect on the messages and replies that I got. Some were very hurtful, which is fair. To answer a few questions brought up, I do have a job and was able to work reduced hours while using my sick days for appointments and the surgery recovery. My husband's work would not allow him to use his sick time for this, so he had to use his vacation days. The cancer I had, thankfully, wasn't as severe as some people's family members here, but it still took many appointments, a surgery to remove most of it, plus lymph nodes, and then the resulting radiation therapy and follow-up appointments. I have decided that I would push back the trip and leave the day after our anniversary so my husband and I can spend our anniversary together. I did apologize to my husband for booking the trip without talking about it with him first. He has no issues with me taking time to spend with my friends in the past, and I honestly didn't think he would mind that much. My friend is obviously upset with this as she has to reschedule her days off as well as parts of the trip that she contributed to, but I hope she understands the situation. I want everyone to know that I really wasn't trying to be the biggest a-hole on the planet. This has been a very stressful time, and I'm just trying to keep everyone happy, as I care about everyone in my life. Thanks for the support, honey, and for burning up all your vacation time to take care of me. I'll send a postcard for our anniversary. YTA.
Next story.
I'm a 20-year-old woman, and I live in an apartment with 3 other roommates. We're only provided a 2-car garage for the whole unit, but that's not an issue because there are only 2 cars. Occasionally, we would have guests over before the second car was brought, and anyone over was welcome to park in the garage. No one cared because better used than not. From the beginning, I've been charged $50 extra a month to park in the garage. Apartment policy. They use it to clean the flooring if requested, no additional cost. This is $50 per unit, not person. When the other person moved a car in, I didn't think to bring up this cost because I'm financially stable enough to handle it, and it secures me a spot in the garage. Last night, I came home to find another car in my spot. I was told that they had guests over while I was out for the week, but I was told that they would park in the street or be gone before I came back. I came back relatively late and felt rude to bother them about moving their car, so I asked if I parked on the street if any of them would be able to give me a ride back, about a mile uphill at midnight with no lights. They said no. For safety, I parked in front of the garage and let them know that if I was towed, I wanted help paying it off. They said they'd pay it in full. I'm 5 foot tall, no pepper spray, and about 100 pounds, so I could in no way fight someone off. I woke up to my car towed and let the roommates know. When I called the company, they told me the bill would come out to about $500. In total, it would cost me about $700 given the hourly rate and time it would take to get there. They said no and lied that I never even asked. I have text messages. I said, whatever, and paid for my car since I had the money on hand. Payment for renting is coming around at mid-month mark, and I have no intention of paying rent. My rent in total is also about $700. I have the money on hand, but still. I talked to my landlord, and he said, so long as it's covered by anyone, it is all right. We're a unit and not individuals. If one person doesn't pay, everyone is in trouble. I sent that to the chat and gave them a week. They tried to bargain with half, but I mentioned I have paid $500 in total while living here for the garage and the fees, and said that I would pay $200 if they did the rest, and they said no. I also pointed out that the other person doesn't pay to use the garage and also could have moved, but they said they pay rent in general, so that's enough. I feel bad, but financially, I would be on a tight budget. No gas, no food, no tuition payment kind. AITA for refusing? NTA. If you let them slide, you're robbing yourself of other things this money could go to. Future investments, buying a house one day, hobbies, a new computer, etc. The moment they said no to picking you up down the road is the moment that they lost any empathy from me. I would have said, all right then, you guys need to move the car. Don't add emotion into it, especially guilt. They're wrong. They've been wrong all along. You're too nice, but you also did your part in trying to communicate a solution. From now on, don't do anything extra for them unless they truly own up and apologize. If they have to go on a payment plan with the landlord, let the landlord do it to make it official. You have the text proof. That's all you need.